Hey guys, welcome to the Deathlock Podcast, episode number 7. Today we are talking about wrestling and tech talk with my co-host here, Mr. Tito. How's it going, man?
Can I do the EO Sky thing?
I know, right?
I love EO. What's up, man?
Honestly.
Dude, it's been a while, so
Yeah.
I'm happy we're able to do this today.
Yeah, so happy May, first of all, because I don't think we've done a live stream since probably pre-WrestleMania. I would say like maybe March or maybe early April. But that's okay. You know, we all have lives. We're all busy. So definitely, glad that we're able to get on here and shoot the shit. So we are talking on the BTech channel and we are talking on the Deathlock podcast channel. So I'm not sharing anything or whatever. So if something goes through, it goes through. Looks like we got a link channel also. I think you might have linked one of your other channels also.
I did. I resurrected Twist and Tap.
Okay, got you. So yeah, on this, like I had paid for like the I guess the pro features for Restream, but I canceled it already. So that'll be like the only time it lets you do it, unless I end up going back to it. But I don't want to be paying $20 a month right now. You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
But that's right. Welcome back, Twist and Tap, Tap and Twist. Is it Tap and Twist or Twist and Tap?
Twist and Tap.
Twist and Tap. All right. So I'm glad you brought that one back. So just to start us out, man, how's everything going with you? What's new on your end?
Well, I guess you could say what's new is my newfound love of John Cena's heel turn. I love his constant berating, and so yeah, I've been joking around with people. I've been going to my friends, and I just look at them, and I'm like, you guys have been awful to me, and they just look at me like, what? And I'm like, y'all ain't wrestling fans, so y'all don't know.
Right.
I just been doing good, man. I just been working on a tech channel. I've been doing work for other people, just kind of sifting through their code. Been using Gemini AI 2.5 to kind of help write code, and I'm in the middle of probably building 4 different games that I'm going to upload to the Google Play Store. And AI, man, AI is the future. It is writing some seriously badass games for me.
Okay, yeah. So that's something I haven't really dabbed myself into at all, as far as like the tech stuff, like ChatGPT and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's an AI out there you could use, but Gemini 2.5 is actually, I got turned on to that from Chris Perillo. So I've been watching what he's been doing with his, because he's all about AI now. So I've been watching closely with how he's using that to make businesses. Oh yeah, man. His stuff really hasn't been popping out on my feeds, but I still see him post every now and then, like on Threads, I guess. So I'll just see random posts, but he is talking a lot about AI. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, man, AI is not a fly-by-night thing. Like, a lot of people look at AI and they think it's just like a fad. It's something that's here now and be dead. It is not. It is only going to continue to keep growing. And that's, if you watch, like, his shorts, and he tells you, like, you can either be in front of the train, underneath the train, behind the train, or on the train. But it's best to be on the train. And it's like, he's right. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to make money, I mean, like, think about it. Remember the Flappy Birds game? Yep. That dude made $50 million on Flappy Birds, and he coded and programmed the game himself. Now, just imagine you have AI like Gemini 2.5, right? You use that can code for you. You don't have to know anything about coding, and that will code up your game for you. All you got to do is give it prompts of what you want in your game, how you want the graphics to look, what the enemies you want them to look like. It's just, you put a synopsis of your game, and then Gemini goes to work writing code, building the whole thing out for you. Wow. Yeah. I guess it's making it easy for people that are trying to do that. So I mean, let me know when of those games come out, so I can check it out, man. I mean, I'll let you and Gil Heyman beta test it for me. I was trying to get him in the house tonight, but he's I think he's working overnight tonight. So I told him, you know what, well, I should probably send him a link, I guess, and see what's going on with that. But he's like, I can listen in on the chat. He's gonna hate me for this. I'm gonna say this to Gil Heyman. Yeah. Standing on the block at night, tricking dollars ain't gonna make you that money, dude. You need to get on here. Oh my god. Yeah, he had been wanting to go live like a couple times recently, but
but I told them, or like it was like this past week I got a tooth pulled, and I wasn't like in a I wasn't in a what do you call it, like in a state where I could be talking a lot because like my jaw was hurting a lot. And that was just this past week, right? I still have to get my wisdom teeth removed, which kind of sucks, but I'm gonna have to wait on that a little bit. So you don't see me for a while. That's why. But yeah, I know. And it's not just like one or two. I got to get all four removed, man. So we'll see.
Man.
Yeah. And they got to put me under, unfortunately.
Ow.
So I have to get a surgeon to do it. You want?
Yeah, dude. They're gonna slice your gum line open, man, to get in there.
Yeah, I've seen videos. Yeah, I've seen videos. So yeah, this other one was just a tooth that I had gotten work done. I had like a root canal on it, and it just wasn't I never took care of it, unfortunately, and the gum, or I guess the root, ended up getting infected, or at least that's what they said. So they were like, yeah, you got to get it removed. I was like, bitch.
Yeah, that happens. So I mean, right. Root canals are never 100% that saves a tooth. I know that. I've had 2 root canals, and I've lost both teeth. Like eventually, they had to get pulled. So it's just it saves it for a little bit longer, but it's not permanent.
It lasted. Yeah, for me, it was about 10 years. So I mean, like I said, 10 years, and I went without getting anything looked at or done. So I was like, all right, I guess that's not too bad. And then of course,
did they give you a shot? Like, did they give you a shot in your gum?
Well, yeah. Did
you freak out? Did you freak out seeing the needle?
No, like the doctor went in pretty quick with the needle, and I honestly, I wasn't even paying attention. Like, usually, even the last time when I got my root canal, like they just kind of went in there real quick, and they gave me shots around the tooth, to like, I guess, numb up the nerves around all the other teeth also, and I just didn't feel it, like, so. I mean, I felt it during the actual root canal. That was like 10 years ago when, I was first starting podcasting about wrestling. But now, like this one, like they numb me up pretty good, honestly. So, and they even asked me, they're like, are you feeling any pain? I was like, no. I was like, but, you can hear all the drilling and, maybe you can smell it all. So I was like, eh.
Maybe it's because they lied to me. Because a lady, like when I have my done, she comes out and she's all like, it's like, oh yeah, he wants you to put this on your gum line. It's gonna numb like the bottom left of your jaw. I'm like, oh, okay. So I put this weird thing on it and like sat for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, you have to wait like 10, 15.
She's like, you can come on in now. So they put me in a chair, they get the light turned on, and then all of a sudden I see this big ass syringe, and I'm like, where the hell is that going? He's all like, all right, let's try not to move around so much. And he just starts going in. I'm freaking out, looking at this long kind of bent needle, and he's like just popping shots everywhere, and it just instantly numbs my jawline. I was like, I was scared. Yeah. I was scared of the needle.
Yeah, for me, they just gave me the shots, and then they walked out of the room for like 10 minutes, and then they came back in. They're like, all right, you should be numbed up by now. And I was like, yeah, for the most part, like all this side was numbed up, and fortunately, I had to be on antibiotics all week, so that was fun.
Ah, man,
that was fun. I know, and I'm still not eating like 100%, because I think it's still kind of healing up, but the pain is not as bad, it comes here and there. So, and that's just one tooth, man. That's just one tooth. So I'm just like, I can't wait until my wisdom teeth get removed, because that's gonna be like a whole like month of recovery for me, probably.
Oh yeah, like people kind of like get confused what a wisdom tooth is, and it's actually not a tooth that grows upward and out of your jawline. It actually grows against your jawbone. That's why like they have to surgically open up your gum line and get in there and take it out.
Yeah, I'm not lucky, unfortunately. It's not like that for everybody, though. Some people, they can just get them like removed normally, but for me, I have to do the surgery.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my doggy. Hold on. This dog is annoying me. She's telling me she wants to go outside, but then when I open the door, she's like, "Nope, I'm just gonna stay." So I'm gonna sit her on my lap.
That's what my courage does. Like she'll do the Tasmanian devil around the front door, and then when I open it and like I get. It's almost like it's like she's trolling me, because I opened the door to let her out. Then she gives me that look like, why the hell did you open the door? And I'm looking at her like, get out. You wanted to go out, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dogs are weird like that. So, man.
Yeah, it's all good. They all have personalities, I think. Like the dogs, like all my animals, they have different personalities. So, can't complain.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, as far as anything else new, like the move was good. The place is pretty much set up like home, so it feels real nice. The only thing I don't like about living here is the T-Mobile home internet is super weak. So sometimes I might freeze and glitch. I apologize if I do, but I'm actually waiting because I just ordered quantum fiber. Okay. So and like they got a long wait list in my neighborhood, so it'd be about 3 weeks to a month before they're out here. They're gonna lay fiber into my place. So the kids are gonna keep the AT&T home internet because I have that too. They're gonna keep it for their stuff, and then the quantum Wi-Fi is gonna go in my office, and I'm gonna connect the what do you call that? The freaking cable line. I'm going to connect it from the gateway into my PC. So 900 by 900 megabit per second speeds. That's good enough to live stream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so far, like, you're pretty good. So I can't complain, like, on your end, you know what I mean? So, I mean, so far, so good.
My speeds are slow, bro. Right now, I did a speed test. It's 24 megabits per second by 6 megabits per second.
Honestly, anything over 20 is good. Like, my home internet, we have Spectrum, but it's like we don't. My dad's under like an old like plan that was like grandfathered from like Time Warner before they got bought out by Spectrum. So like he was on the like senior citizen plan where they get discounted internet. So when I first moved back home, it was like 20 megabits a second download, and they like have gradually moved it up. So I think now it's like 50 or 55 download, and like the upload's not too horrible. So I can't complain, honestly. So I'm just like, okay, like I'm just gonna leave it like that, you know what I mean? Because we still pay for cable, which we're paying like a little over $100 for the internet and the like the TV channels, because my dad likes to watch like the local news and whatnot. So change the subject now. Let's get into it, right? Let's talk about a little bit of wrestling, right? You know, for those that are watching on the DLP, the Deathlock podcast, and Tap and Twist, or can't even say it.
Twist and tap.
Yeah, I always say tap and twist. Twist and tap.
Think about the secrets. Think about the sequence of a submission. You gotta twist the limbs to make them tap.
I'm horrible when it comes to sequencing.
You want to talk WrestleMania?
Yeah, we can talk about WrestleMania, or we can talk the most recent one, which was Backlash, whichever, man. I'll let you get into it first.
Wait, actually, did we talk about WrestleMania, or did we already?
No, I don't think. I mean, I think you might have uploaded on one of your other channels, you know, giving your thoughts on WrestleMania. But I honestly have not. So.
Well, first of all, let me let people know that if you're not following me on the X platform, do so, because when there are PLEs, I am going to live stream and live react, because I did a live reaction to Backlash, and I was hitting about 600 to 700 people watching on X. So I'm like, hey, people came to watch this. And I didn't show the PLE. I was just commentating while watching. So I'm going to do that again, with Money in the Bank. But I guess we could just kind of like float it all in instead of like, individually picking apart matches in WrestleMania. WrestleMania for the most part this year was, I guess, I will mark it as decent. I just felt like it was a little predictable that they were going to give Cena number 17. That way he can run his his shtick. Obviously, Cody needed a break being champion for a year. He needs some time off, and so I wasn't disappointed. I was not disappointed that Cena won the title. I mean, I know Gene was mad.
A lot of people were mad that Cena won the title, honestly.
Yeah, but it makes for a good thing, because then when you kind of think about it, leading up to Backlash, right? Like, Randy Orton, John Cena, one final time, Randy Orton's hometown. I knew he wasn't going to win the title from John. I just thought that John was going to get revenge for what happened years ago at a pay-per-view where, Randy Orton retained the title from John by punching the referee. I thought John was going to pay him back in the same notion, but no, you had R-Truth, get involved. You had freaking Nick Aldis come out, get RKO'd. Jamie Noble got RKO'd. I felt sorry for Jamie Noble, man. He's a little guy that can. He could take a punch, but man, it was for the most part, I think my favorite moment of WrestleMania was Dirty Dom winning the IC title.
Yeah. I got a lot pop. I agree.
I love that, but it's so weird though because he's acknowledging the fans cheering for him, but he's not doing it in a heel way. Like post show, he's out there with Big E and everybody, and he's all like, "I could never talk before. People would boo me, and now look at everybody, and everyone's cheering, and he's eating it up." So I don't know, man. Do you think Dom is going to go face, or do you think he's just going to become the new leader of the Judgment Day?
I think it's leaning towards, I wouldn't say him being like the leader of the Judgment Day. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's going to lean towards Finn eventually either stepping away or them kicking him out of the Judgment Day, basically. And maybe possibly Dom bringing somebody else in, right? Because, of course, he kept saying, like, oh, let's bring somebody in, right? And Finn was pretty against it. And obviously now that he's the Intercontinental champion, him and Liv, she's got the tag championship with Raquelita. They have, I feel like they have more push and there's more like eyes on them than with Finn Balor right now. So I think there's gonna be another double turn eventually when it comes to that. I just don't know when, or Finn will turn on Dom, right? And then Dom goes his own way with Liv, but I think it's probably the first, right, where they do a turn on Finn. Finn. If you saw, I think it was at Raw or SmackDown. I think it was Raw or one of those, where Finn and AJ Styles kind of had like a little face to face, right? So there's a little bit of like what do you call it? Kind of like a tease, right? Maybe a small reunion with Finn and AJ Styles, maybe bringing back, the club, maybe, even though Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are no longer with WWE. So, that's one thing. I was just like, oh man, like that would have been cool if, Luke Gallows and Anderson were still there. That way it could have been like Styles and Balor. They could have brought something up, maybe to compete with the new Judgment Day, with the new Judgment Day, right? Yeah, because it's like how many iterations of Judgment Day have we had already? I think this is like the third one already. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it'll probably, I think WWE is doing a better job when it comes to their long-term storytelling now. So I think this is something that will probably happen either by SummerSlam or before SummerSlam. So, maybe Money in the Bank or something like that, which is coming up also. Who knows? There's too much stuff going on. Too much.
It could be. There's a lot of good storytelling going on. I kind of think the latter in the situation. I honestly feel like that, at some point, with Dom being the Intercontinental Champion, and I honestly feel like that there, when Liv comes back from doing her movie and everything like that, I honestly feel like that the Judgment Day kind of like disbands. But I think more than anything, Finn stays heel, but I think Liv kind of screws Dom. Kind of giving him that, what he did to Rhea, kind of payback type of thing. Dom's too hot right now, and as much as they want him to stay a heel, the fans are like they're overriding that decision. Don't matter if he's heel or face, the fans are riding with him. So
so now that you're talking about the fans overriding, certain things, right? This has been kind of a topic, right, as of late, especially on other, social platforms or, whatever. Yeah. But a lot of people are kind of, they're starting to cheer for the heels now, and they're starting to, boo the faces, which, it really hasn't been like that, I would say, in a really long time when it comes to the wrestling industry. I would say probably like Attitude Era, maybe, NWO era for WCW, right? But, we're starting to see the fans starting to turn on the faces. We saw it at Mania, right? They were basically booing Cody Rhodes, right? During that main event, they were, a lot of people were hyping up Cena, even though it's like, come on, you guys aren't doing your job. Like the fans are supposed to be booing for Cena, even if Cena wins, which everyone knew he was going to win. Like I didn't think I never had a thought in my mind that Cena was not going to win that match. You know what I mean? I didn't really care. For Travis Scott coming out and, low blowing or whatever. I don't even remember what the fuck happened, honestly. But I think he landed Cody a low blow or something like that. To that extent. Or Cody got his receipt in, and then, Cena low blowed Cody, and then, he ended up winning the match after that.
Yeah, because Cody had the title. He could have smashed Cena in the face with it, but he decided to take the high road, and John pretty much like kicked him in the nuts again. I think that's like the MO of everything now, right? Because if you look at even at Backlash, the way that John Cena won, he didn't win with the attitude adjustment. He won with the move that I call the strap and smash. That's taking that belt and hitting it across your face. And you know what? It's a good look, because I would think about it like this, and to the Cody fans out there, don't get all upset, but
the crybabies, David LaGreca over here.
Orton and Cena's match to me had a much bigger feel and bigger impact than Rhodes and Cena.
Yeah,
the back and forth, right? Like Randy Orton kind of countering the AA with the RKO.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it again in that match. They did each other's finishers. It was so much back and forth. It was so great. And, hats off to Randy Orton, because, he put on a hell of a performance. And I only hope that they let him get number 15 so he's not tied with Triple H at 14.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we'll see. There's a lot of time, right? Because I think the remainder of this time until John Cena's last appearance, which would be in December, I feel like that John is going to put down every adversary he's had, right? So I feel like CM Punk is next to step up to the plate. There's a lot, right? We have R-Truth that's going against Cena at Saturday Night Main Event. That should be pretty interesting. But, I don't know why I don't want that match to happen. Because I honestly want R-Truth to dethrone John Cena. That's me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't definitely see that happening, but I think what's been happening is R-Truth will be the reason why Cena loses his title, possibly in his last match. So let's say for instance, Cody takes the summer off. We see Cody return at SummerSlam. He gets back into it with Cena. R-Truth is kind of still trying to side with Cena. At that point, right? Because he's still his childhood hero, whatnot. And then we see R-Truth, in that following match, Cena's last match, accidentally do something where Cena, trips and falls, or something happens where he kind of just gets screwed over by accident, something comedic maybe, and then Cena loses. Although we'll see, I don't know. That's just me throwing up.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and that would be kind of cool to see. But for Cena's opponent on who he loses to, whether R-Truth costs him the title or not, there's one aspect, I follow people and what they say, on social media about, wrestling and everything. And a lot of people are they want to see CM Punk beat him, or they want Roman Reigns to beat him. But people forget one thing about John Cena that he's always done, and that he's always put somebody new over. And I feel like the person that dethrones him from the title is going to be an up-and-coming person that came out of NXT, or is jumping ship from, TNA or any of those. Because who knows? The one guy that has made several appearances that people are not talking too much about, that I feel like will eventually make a jump to WWE, is Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
And if Joe Hendry steps to WWE, actually signs to the roster, I feel like that potentially could be the guy who dethrones John Cena. If not him, somebody from NXT is going to, that makes the jump over to Raw or SmackDown.
I could see. I'm not just gonna say no to that. I think that's actually makes sense. But for me, also, it's I feel like if anyone that's on the main roster is gonna do it, it's gonna be Cody probably for that second title run. But I don't see it happening with CM Punk. Unfortunately, they're on separate shows. Punk's on Raw, Cena's on SmackDown. Unless Punk wins the Money in the Bank or something, or something has to happen to where the Money in the Bank person might hold it until John Cena's retirement match. Who knows? Maybe they cash in, right? Or like you said, Joe Hendry, who is in his contract year, I believe this is his final year contracted with TNA. So he might end up dropping the belt. By the end of the year. Obviously, I'm sure they'll at least keep it on him during the summer, and then they'll give it to somebody else. So that's a possibility. Because I know that Joe Hendry also, he's kind of been putting it out there. Hey, I want a match with John Cena. If before he retires.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I mean, Cena likes him. I mean, it's been put out there also. You know, about that. You know, you never know. Maybe we can see Cena in a TNA event, or maybe, or vice versa, right? You know, Hendry's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
show up
possible.
there. I mean, obviously with the TNA relationship, you know, he's gonna. You know, he already showed up in that match at Mania with Randy Orton. He was in the Rumble this
That was a
year.
beautiful
You
match.
know, he's in multiple NXT, you know, crossover storylines right now. So, you know, it's only a matter of time before, you know, he crosses crosses over, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, very strong possibility for that to you know to happen. You know, today is, in my opinion, it's a great comeback for wrestling. Like I love these branch connections. I love the fact that you know WWE has a partnership agreement with TNA. You know they bought out for one of the connections with Lucha Underground. So like Lucha Underground now, you know, part of like in a way part of a WWE, and
right. Well, they bought the rights to it, right? I think, right?
Yeah.
So they own like the video library to Lucha Underground. That's why they're talking about it more. You know, in WWE, which is pretty crazy. I'm just like,
they can mention it now. Yeah, they could definitely mention it now. And then I don't know if you read, but there's already talks of a similar partnership with AEW that they have with TNA. Which, if that comes through, like if Tony Khan plays his cards right, and they make this happen, like a lot of people suspect, it's not going to be hard for them to revive the Shield if they wanted to later on down the road, because even if Moxley stays in AEW, he can make an appearance in WWE. Of course, right now you have the trifecta or whatever name they're going to call Seth's little stable.
Yeah, right. I forgot what they were calling it. Like, I know if you listen to like Jim Cornette's podcast, there's a name for it, but I don't.
Trifecta.
I don't know. Maybe.
It's such a boring ass name, and
I mean, but they're also kind of teasing that there is going to be one more member of that.
Oh yeah. It's good.
You know, a lot of people wanted them to bring back Austin Theory. I think that's a bad idea, though. To bring back Austin Theory, I think
Austin Theory with Seth Rollins. I don't want that. Like I see Austin as a heel for so long. I would love to see him on the other side of the fence. You know, to be quite honest with a lot of things that's going on Raw, there's only like one major thing I'm kind of disappointed in, and I'm not really gonna say that it's the talent's fault. But is it me, or do you feel like that that it's been a little lackluster? Let me take this call real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, go for it. All right, so while Tito is on the line, again, guys, thanks again for subscribing to all of the channels, right? Again, we are live streaming on the Deathlog podcast, Tap and Twist, or Twist and Tap. Sorry about that. And then the VTech.
I got to step away real quick, but I'll be right back. Just my question to you before I step away real quick was I wanted your thoughts on how Jey Uso's World Heavyweight Championship run is going so far. Like, what do you think about it?
All right, sounds good. I'll talk about that while you're away, I guess. All right, so yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things for WrestleMania this year, guys, was Jey Uso's singles push, right? And a lot of people were against that, right? You know, I have a few buddies that were not for it, right? They were basically saying that he can't wrestle and that, you know, he's just, you know, that the whole yeet thing, that's all it is, basically, right? But you have to think of it this way, right? You know, John Cena had the "You Can't See Me," you know, Stone Cold, you know, had the "Give Me a Hell Yeah," you know, stuff like that, right? You know, granted, you know, Cena and Stone Cold were different wrestlers. You know, Jey Uso's been doing it a long time, so you know, when he won the title, I mean, I wasn't shocked. I knew they were going to put the strap on him. I knew, like, you know, I feel bad for Gunther, first of all, because Gunther is like 0-2 at WrestleMania the last couple of years. So, you know, he doesn't have a good streak when it comes to his WrestleMania record. So one of these years I would like to see Gunther retain or win a title at WrestleMania. But anyways, Jey Uso, you know, it has been super popular, right? You know, I as far as his title push goes, or his actual title run, I feel like his title run is very weak, and it's actually one of the weaker title runs I've seen in a long time. Like, I feel like Damian Priest winning the title last year felt like better than Jey Uso winning the title. And nothing against Jey Uso, right? You know, I mean, he's, like I said, he's been in the business for years already. I don't feel like, I mean, I know the fans are attached to him, especially the younger fans, but I feel like the older fans are just not accepting him as someone that is the top dog in the company, right?
Sorry, I had to step away. My sister-in-law's ex-boyfriend's kids, they were over here because I was watching them, and so he came to pick them up. That's who was calling.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was listening in a little bit on what you were saying about Jey Uso. Yeah.
I mean, it's boring. To me, honestly, like, from my perspective, it's a little boring. I feel like there's been a few, times and segments where they actually, like, make him look weak, where he's been needing, like, a lot of help, you know what I mean? From other, like, guys like Sami Zayn and whoever else.
So I'm not the only one that feels that way.
They're kind of saving him on, on a lot of these little tough spots, right? And I think his next match is against Logan Paul. Like, I mean, that's
what the hell?
So like that I don't care about.
Gunther's rematch though, that's coming up too.
Yeah, I think that'll happen like at the next Saturday night's main event? No, I think, or is it Money in the Bank? I just know that they are going to probably have like a rematch also, but
Gunther already came out and told him that they're getting that he's getting his rematch. I see the reason why I feel like that Jey Uso's championship run is already at a weak point was like if you noticed when he won the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, Gunther had no desire to pursue, right? I mean he kind of did his belly aching and stuff, but he didn't invoke his rematch clause for Backlash or anything like that.
Yeah.
So as time has gone on, we've passed Backlash. We've had Jey Uso defend the World Heavyweight title against Seth Rollins and was saved obviously by Sami Zayn and whatnot. So like now all of a sudden, this past Monday, Gunther comes out and lets Jey know that he's invoked his rematch clause. So I feel like that Jay's got to turn it around. He's really got to turn it around. Otherwise, the strap is going to leave his shoulders. They usually tend to do that when they think like, okay, this is not working, so let's put the belt back on Gunther and maybe have somebody else beat Gunther for the the World Heavyweight title. Like, and it sucks because like, Jey Uso, the underdog, tag team partner, twin, going for singles title, won the IC title, held it for a short time, lost
Super short time, yeah,
very short time. And I'm like, okay, let's not do it with the World Heavyweight title, but in the grander scheme of like main championships, if Jey loses the title to Gunther, that will be a short run. It won't be the shortest run ever, but it would be like a short, legitimate run. And I don't see Jey going forward with the World Heavyweight title. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they probably will still keep the strap on him somehow. I don't know how or why, but I feel like they are going to do it just to kind of roll with it and see like how the fans continue to react. But for me, it's like I'm not feeling it as a fan. Like I don't feel like it's real, but again. He's one of those guys that has come out of a tag team, right? He was in a tag team for so long, and I think that's kind of what ruined it for him a little bit. I think is that WWE kept him and his brother as tag team partners for so long that it's hard to see him. But I know like that they've been trying to build him as a singles guy since the beginning of the Bloodline, basically, right? So I think they could have did a little bit better with him last year when he did have the Intercontinental Championship, right? I think they should have. They should have kept the strap on him a little bit longer, right? Maybe hold it until like the, either a little bit before the Rumble, maybe have him lose it, like, Monday Night Raw before Rumble, and then, have him win the Rumble, that way everyone could be like, oh shit, he lost the IC title, but now he has a chance at winning the world title, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of giving it back to Braun Breaker, right? Which Braun Breaker had a great year last year also, but, let's be honest, right? Braun Breaker's character still isn't fully there. He's not super comfortable on the mic or doing these segments live just yet, right? And that's why they matched him up with a guy like Paul Heyman and a guy like Seth Rollins, right? Because they've been doing it for years already, right?
Yeah, he's on Seth's wing now, so he'll get that time.
I feel like Braun Breaker is like the new Batista, right? When it comes to like that type of faction, right? He's like the powerhouse,
semi-final boss.
the semifinal boss. Oh shit, is that the semifinal boss? Is he in the house? Blah blah blah. I don't know this. I don't know what he's saying, but
blah blah
if he,
blah 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 blah.
if
Yeah,
not
you're
nice,
not
I might
here. You're not here to have an input. So
right.
Go back to your corner with your juice box and chill. Ah. Why does Ray Phoenix keep losing? Someone's got to lose between the brothers. But here's my thing. Here's my thing on Jey Uso. This is what I would do if I could sit down with Jay and kind of just go over maybe some changes with him that might affect how people are perceiving him. One is his TV time. When he's got airtime, I know people kind of like it because it's a gimmick, but let's not do it all the time. I mean, these one-liner pause, like his just that stuff that he does where he's like, I'm gonna win a title, yeet. I'm gonna become champion, yeet. Like, he's got to stop it with that. People want more substance if you're gonna speak on the mic. So one, they need to get him a really good rival, somebody that he can break out of his yeet character and get real with for once.
Yeah.
And say what's on his mind. Two, the spear. Roman Reigns, Braun Breaker. A lot of people are using the spear. Let's give that up as a finisher. The Uso splash. That was a tag team move. Let's give that up. I mean, Bret Hart didn't continue doing the heart attack. After he went single, a sharpshooter was his thing. So Jay needs to develop a finisher that looks devastating, that looks powerful. And then he needs better feuds. Like, to be in the light, he just needs that opportunity. Get better dialogue. If he has to go back and coach with cutting a promo, I mean, shit. Talk to John Cena. John Cena's good at cutting promos, man.
Right.
I mean, that's my problem with Jay. Is just I don't feel it from him. Like, every time you get a new champion, whether face or heel, they always have this dominating presence on the microphone, and Jay hasn't cut one yet. It's just been little banters to the crowd and little, let's do this. And okay, we get that. You're with the crowd. You love the crowd. You're pandering to them. You're playing with them. Now, how about getting real? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, hello. Did we finally get lag on Tito's side? Hello? Still there, Tito? All right, hold on. I think Tito froze up, guys. So, semifinal boss, let me know if you can hear Tito. Hello? All right, apologies, guys. I think we are having some technical difficulties. You froze. Or at least that's what I'm getting. So, yeah, while we're waiting for Tito to come back, I guess, semifinal boss here says the spear is the new DDT and super kick. Oh, there you go. You have to step out. Okay, there you go. Let me get him back in real quick. There you go.
Yeah, I crashed. I told you I eventually was gonna crash.
Jeez.
It crashed. It crashed on me. Maybe Jey Uso was watching. He was like, "Yo, cut his mic."
Right. TK was sending the. Like I see a head in the background.
Yeah. But no, I mean, what was going on from that is like I said, he needs to get away from the crowd pantering. He needs obviously he just needs that presence. He just needs to establish that presence. That's
and it sucks. Like, I get it. Like, it hypes the crowd up when he does those little shticks or whatever you want to call it. But he needs to, like you said, he needs to kind of take a promo class from a guy like Cena or CM Punk, right? And just get more comfortable on the mic, right? I think we saw a little bit of it, the week before Mania where he cut that promo on Gunther, after he beat his brother down. His tone changed. He got a little more serious, right? And we, as fans, I was like, okay, he's finally getting a little serious, right? He's kind of, and he was even telling, like, at some points he was even like, telling the fans, like, no, like I don't want you to be yeeting right now or whatever, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he was getting into it because that's the thing about fans today, like the wrestling fans today, they're built up on a generation where thing is pretty much IRL. So then you got to bring them that IRL presence. You got to bring them that in real life presence. You can't always be character. And that's why Roman, went from sucking crap on the microphone to now actually cutting halfway decent promos. John Cena's always cut the best promos because he always reaches in for that real life shit and pulls it out and says the things that fans are thinking. That's the thing. Fans want to resonate with you. So if you're saying the things that we are thinking, then you're hitting points that gets us to look your way and see you in a different limelight. Doing that, pantering stuff that's been going on for so long, that's just a phased out time. Like, I could deal with it, but today's newer fans, they don't deal with it because they don't come from the times that we were watching wrestling. So we've seen it all. We've seen the 80s, good guy, hero, bad guy, villain. Villain never really wins. Hero always gets the title. Then we went into the Attitude Era. Villains were champion. Villains brought a lot of presence. Now, we went to the PG era. It's okay. But now we're in this new era, which is real life. People want this. So Jay's got to do it. He's got to dig in deep. Otherwise, they're eventually just going to be like, okay, he's not working as champion. Who's next?
Yeah. Nope. Agreed. I mean, it's been, Isaac Android guy in the house.
Isaac, what's up, man? Glad you made it.
And we got also the semifinal boss.
Semifinal boss that's not here, so that makes him that makes him absent from the entire thing. You're fired. But you know who is doing pretty good lately, and I like the dynamic that happened, especially when they tagged up together. Io and Rhea.
Oh yeah.
They had a great match.
Yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic between them, and just now that you're mentioning that, that was honestly the best match at WrestleMania this year. Was the women's triple threat match: Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. Bianca, I believe, broke a few fingers during that match, by the way, so that's why she's out. But yeah, that was like the match of the two nights, in my opinion, right? Like, I mean, Dom got the biggest pop, but that was the best overall match.
I have to agree with you on that one. The women's triple threat for the women's world heavyweight championship was so good. I mean, I know there were fans that were pulling for Rhea. They want Rhea to get it, but right now Rhea doesn't need a belt where her status is at. She's pretty much at a good point. That's why I'm loving the dynamic with her and Io right now, especially when they tagged up together against Roxanne and Julia. That to me was a pretty nice match. It was a great way for Julia and Roxanne to make a presence on the main roster now. Yeah. Good for Io and Rhea to kind of still keep that feud, because I caught that at the end where Rhea said, I'm still coming for the belt, and Io said that she would gladly defend it to Rhea, and it was just just a good moment, like a good respect for each other, because Rhea's never defeated Io.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're ever going to play upon that, or if they're going to give Rhea a different person to feud with to kind of allow Io to have that good time to run with the title and maybe have some good defenses. Hopefully not Becky Lynch.
Becky Hogan.
Becky Hogan. You know what would save Becky right now? If she joins her husband and their little whatever the hell they're gonna name it,
little group or whatever.
Yeah, she joins him there. You know what I mean? They could be the power couple that eventually takes on the Miz and Maurice and. Right. Man, it would be good though for her to be by her husband, since both of them are heels.
Yeah. Understandable. I would also. Sheesh. But anyways, going back to the female division. Now that you're talking about it, Julia is the newest SmackDown signee as of Friday. Mm-hmm. So now even though she's been kind of showing up on Raw, interfering in all these matches. Now she's going to be on SmackDown. I'm assuming that Roxanne Perez is already on Raw, or is already a Raw roster member. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but they're bringing in a lot of these new talents. Obviously, I know that they are planning a all-female PLE again. So they have to bring in more talent, right? We have to see more female stars for this to happen. Because yes, I'm pretty sure we might see one or two matches from NXT. Flush over from that also, but if we can do mostly just main roster talents, right? We have basically every major title for the women's division now. You have the tag team, you have the two mid-card titles, and then you have the two world titles, right? So hopefully all of those can be showcased. I wasn't too sold on Zelina Vega winning the United States championship.
Why?
Back. I get it. She's a hard worker. She puts in the work, man. It does not resonate with me, like her character, and that's because she loves cosplaying and all that. She's Latina. I don't know, man. I just can't resonate with her as far as like her in-ring persona. You know what I mean?
I wanted to win the United States title besides Zelina?
Yeah.
I really wanted Michin to win it.
That's the same for me also. Well,
she put in work. See, that's the thing. Like, I guess the reason I resonate with both those two, being okay by me to win the title is because they put in the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought the feud between Michin and Chelsea Green was getting climactic, to a point where I thought they were going to put the belt. They didn't. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if Michin is going to be in the company long because I don't see her being booked right. She's kind of fading into the dust, right? That's my concern, is that she may have to go somewhere else to, like, maybe go back to TNA, Not create the dollhouse, but just, go back there and maybe develop a bigger presence there. It's usually what wrestlers have to do in WWE when they're not striking with the fans enough. They go somewhere else, reinvent themselves, and then come back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen. Zelina Vega winning the United States title, I think that's just it's like when you toss a T-bone steak to a hard worker, you know what I mean? Yeah. They see all the hard work she's done over time, and how many times she's had a pop, like when she wrestled Rhea for the women's championship back, a couple years back.
Yeah.
And the fans' reactions to that, I think it's kind of like also what led them to be like, it's okay to to put a mid-card title on her, see how the fans resonate, because I feel like that's all they really use mid-card belts for, is fan reactions to see if they want to push this person for a main title.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, right now with Zelina as the United States Women's Championship, I feel like that, they're going to, if she'll stay mid-card for a little bit longer into like any main feuds with main titles within the next year.
I just really thought they were going to keep the belt on Chelsea Green a little bit longer, but Chelsea's very humble, and I'm sure she's all about elevating other talent as well as in the locker room. So, shout out to her for being a good first female United States champion. I really like the president gimmick or whatever. Her and her lackeys or whatever. They're a Secret Service woman. I thought that was hilarious. And they're still kind of like sticking to that, so I'm just like, okay, eventually I'm sure they'll put the belt back on her. Who knows when? But speaking of now that you mentioned it, I want to kind of get into it a little bit, right? You talked about some of the talents going on into other ventures. Recently in the last couple of weeks we had a big chunk of talent that was released, right?
Oh yeah,
something that I probably should have talked about when it first happened, but I got lazy. You know what I mean? So several releases, most notably guys like Braun Strowman, Shotzi Blackheart, who else? Dakota Kai, right? Which she's part of Damage Control.
Yeah, that's weird.
Cora Jade from NXT, who now goes by Elena Black, right? And a few others, right? But I feel like those are like the most notable names as far as main roster NXT goes. What are your thoughts on that? And will we see them in TNA, maybe in AEW?
I feel like so for Dakota Kai, I feel like there's a strong possibility we'll see her in AEW. I don't know the reasons why WWE decided to release her, especially when they were kind of giving her that push where she was challenging for the women's IC championship.
Title? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would have taken Dakota Kai as the women's Intercontinental Champion over Lyra Valkyria. Honestly. Lyra's been a little stale in my book.
Yeah.
So I was just like, put on Dakota Kai, because that would have been a great way. Because this is what I would have done with Dakota Kai if she was given the IC belt and Io had the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, and then you had the Kabuki Warriors come back. A lot of people would think, oh, Kabuki Warriors are going to challenge for the women's tag team title. They're going to hold all the gold. Maybe, but then Asuka decides to target Io for the title, and Kairi targets Dakota for the IC title. causing a split in damage control and allowing for a feud to happen there. They dropped the ball on that. You know, I've heard reasons why they let go of Cora Jade. I've heard it's because of OF. And it's like, you know, kind of the same reasons why they got rid of Mandy Rose. Yeah. They got rid of Mandy Rose for the same thing, for making that, you know, that type of content. I mean,
well,
you know,
she didn't have an OF prior to her release, so let's just let's point that out there right now, okay? Now, you know, she
didn't have an OF established, but there were things flying around on the Webernet.
Possibly, you know what I mean? So who knows? That could have been a reason why, but, you know, either way, like, you know, I think she's not going to be done with wrestling. Mandy Rose, different situation, obviously.
She's in fitness now, right? She's doing like a fitness thing.
Modeling, yeah. She's just like a fitness model now, or, you know, a fans-only model. Fans-only model who's still making a lot of money off that, right? So she probably will never come back to the squared circle. You know, maybe she'll have some sort of affiliation to it,
maybe down the road,
you know, but down the road. But as far as that goes, she'll probably never come back to the ring, and I don't have a problem with that.
They'll probably test the waters with her, because that's one thing I'd noticed with WWE. They do that. Like, if they wanted to bring Mandy Rose back, I would honestly see them doing it at the Women's Rumble match years down the road, and guesstimating on how big of her pop is and fan reaction is where, you know, they would be like, okay, let's get her a contract, you know?
Right.
But it's up to her if she wants to come back. I don't see Mandy accepting a contract to come back to WWE.
Yeah.
You know, same like, you know, with the talent that they let go. Like, I mean, I follow Braun Strowman on social media, and he's doing okay. He doesn't look like he's destroyed over being released. I mean, he's out there vacationing and enjoying himself. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you know, it sucks. You know, I think it was more of a money issue for Braun Strowman also. Like, I think they just didn't want to pay him, you know, the money, I guess. So, you know, that's what I'm hearing also. But I mean, you know, look at the talents that they're bringing in, you know, now because of some of these releases, right? You got JC, you know, aka Jeff Cobb, right? You know, obviously Penta and Phoenix are new signees.
Why are people hating on Jeff Cobb? Like, I see a lot of that on social media. Why bring in a guy in his 40s now? What's wrong with him being in his 40s? He still looks good. He still looks like he can go.
Doing that. Yeah, I think they're doing that because some of the female talent that was released, they're a little up there in age, so they're, you know, they're thinking it could be like a, you know, more of a discriminatory thing against, you know, the woman's age. You know, even though like Dakota Kai looks great, right? She's late 30s. Also, who else? Shayna Baszler, right? Shayna Baszler, she's in her early 40s as well. So,
and she was let go.
Yeah, so that's WWE. One of them. Yeah, but you know.
I do got to make a statement to the wrestling fans on TikTok and on Threads. Let's get this straight right now. Jeff Cobb is not an Anoa'i. He's not a Fatu. The dude is half Filipino. He's half Chamorro. He grew up. He was born, I believe, in Guam. Moved to Hawaii and was raised there, but was raised in his adolescent years back in Guam. So he's half Chamorro, he is half Filipino, he is not Samoan at all. Well, people are like, another Anoa'i family member. Like, no, he's not. And you can tell by his face. I mean, Jeff Cobb. Okay, well, I get why people would get confused because, I mean, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Joseph Anoa'i takes the name Roman Reigns. It's like, okay. But no, he's not Samoan. And I don't care that he's 40 years old. I just want to see this rivalry pick up between him and Jacob Fatu. Because, oh, man, Jacob Fatu's been on a roll. Like, I'm loving this dynamic where we're getting teasers on SmackDown where Jacob is slowly getting frustrated with Solo because of, you know, Solo's decisions, what happened at Backlash and the Fatal 4-Way. You know, Jacob, great United States champion. I honestly see that, you know, he's gonna get excommunicado from Solo's bloodline. I do see a rivalry reawakening between Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb because if you guys don't know, they've had great rivalries outside of WWE. I just can't wait to see that rekindled again. I don't know why they don't go by, you know, the known name from him, Jeff Cobb. Why did they go with JC?
The reason why is because I think WWE, just like everybody, right? They want to own the rights to a name. So, you know, if Jeff Cobb is his real name, obviously, There's like issues with that, right? I'll give you an example, right? Like Indy Hartwell, I think she talked about this in her in one of her vlogs that I don't think that's her real name, but like I guess it was a name that she owned. Like, so WWE ended up buying the rights to that name, but then after she got released last year, she just asked for it back, and WWE just like luckily just gave it back to her. That doesn't happen with everybody, right? But in this case, she was able to take that name to TNA. Now she's a Knockouts competitor, but it's just about the money, man. They want to copyright it or whatever. That way, if they make toys or they put you in a video game, etc. like that, they just make money. That's it. It's just about the money, honestly.
Yeah. But it's a very interesting dynamic. Very interesting.
Well, very Mateo, JC Mateo, something like that.
Yeah, just like that. I don't know. That's they could have came up with something else. I mean, but you know what? And it pains me to say this with all the releases, there are some notable references that I feel like should be released, should go somewhere else and kind of build themselves up and maybe come back later. I don't know how this is all going to pan out. And it hurts me to say this because I was a big backer of them. They're actually on screen with me. I honestly feel like that they should have been let go. They totally screwed up the Wyatt family. Yeah. I know where they were coming from with it. They were like, let's make them faces. Let's put them against American Made. Let the fans cheer them. The fans were gonna cheer them whether they were heel or face. Didn't matter. They booked them so bad, it didn't pick up anywhere, and like I've been thinking about this for months. So like I'm just naming everything they went wrong. Even though we knew who they were behind the mask, they unmasked them too quickly. They could have like played on that for a little bit, and then they sent them over to SmackDown, and they're airing these little, not vignettes, but you've been seeing these little signs that they're on SmackDown. Usually when Alexa Bliss is around, something happens. Now that the new leader of the Wyatt Six, that Uncle Howdy's gonna go out, I think that would be a crazy move for them to do. Like, yes, Alexa to lead them, okay, that's fine. But to who we all know is Bray's brother in real life, I mean, that would be like kind of like a slap to the face. I honestly think that she should lead the Wyatt Six, and Uncle Howdy should be the puppet master in the background pulling the strings like he was before. But I don't understand why writers don't see that. Like, why they don't see this is how they should use them. Use them for evil. Like, go back to the roots of the Wyatt family before they were loved, and let them be hated for a while. I don't know that. So I'm like, they should have got rid of them. I don't know what you think about
that. I mean, I don't disagree, I guess, as far as them releasing, or at least I maybe not all of them. I think they should keep Eric Rowan and what's her face? I forget her name already.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross. The other two guys were not really necessary. I think what they should have done is, like, first of all, I did think that they had a cool like debut whenever they did come back last year, right? And they had that little scene, in the back where they took out all these people, including Chad Gable.
They unalived Chad Gable. Yeah, somehow he came back.
He came back to life the following week. But it's like, they should have kind of introduced each character slowly, right? Obviously, we know who Uncle Howdy was already, right? But they should have brought back Eric Rowan, as the powerhouse, not just as just some chump that gets pinned in a match, because I think at one point he did get pinned in one of those matches.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense.
Bring in Nikki Cross, have something happen each week or every couple weeks where like a new character develops, and have Uncle Howdy introduce this is this person, with his high pitched voice. Sorry.
Yeah, he could have done that. Or he didn't even really have to introduce him, because even if they went in the same getup that they're in right now, we know that they're representing a member of the Firefly Funhouse. How you were saying that they could have spaced out bringing them one at a time would have been great. What I would have done was, in you know how they like to drop clues to see if people can catch on what's going to happen next. If they had aired vignettes of the Firefly Funhouse, like Uncle Howdy comes with the message again to terrorize WWE, and if you look in the background of the Firefly Funhouse, as a character's introduced, we would know that character's coming because in the Funhouse, their puppet would be missing. Like each one's animated to life, one at a time, and space them out good. Don't do it every week. I would have loved it if they did it over the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. And like had somebody show at a PLE.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
No one asked.
Well, like we said, like I feel like they just did everything too quick, and they weren't really talking about those characters, which the NXT guy or guys, I don't even know if it was more than one. I think what's his face, the blonde guy with the mustache, I forget his name also.
Oh, Dexter Lumis.
Dexter Lumis, right? His character was already like weird prior to him joining the White Six. Like give us a backstory, right? Tell us why why or how he ended up with them, and how he went from like no hair to like a full head of fucking dreadlocks over here. You know what I mean? Crazy.
I mean, he was growing his hair out.
Yeah.
He disappeared off camera for a while, but see, like the best way they could have really, if you remember when Uncle Howdy was doing the vignettes of the White Six coming, they played that song Nightbird, that had that creepy tone to it. They aired, those little tapes that cut to like the White Six emblem, and then it cut to like this house out in the sticks playing that creepy song. They literally could have given reasons why these people were chosen to represent characters. I agree with you 100%, because like I said, like you, I loved the debut. I thought it was great, cool. It shocked everybody. It was stunning. It was creepy. I mean, even Triple H played along. Everybody in the gorilla was like beaten to the pulp and bloodied. So it was great. But then it was like, but why? Like all we got were, Bo Dallas kind of expressing about, the pain of the loss of his brother. And we get that, God rest his soul. We get that. We were all in pain, losing Bray. We all were. Mm-hmm. And we all still feel that missing gap, because that missing hole of Bray not being there is not properly filled. They are paying too much tribute to Bray instead of honoring his actual legacy for this group he was building by seeing it through the way that Bray wanted. Because Bray's great. Yeah. Writing stories, coming up with stuff, he's good. And I know Bray wouldn't have brought the Wyatt Six this way. He wouldn't have. I mean, he would have probably still did the same thing he did with Braun Strowman when he introduced the fourth member of the Wyatt family, the Black Sheep, the Destroyer, the Conqueror. And I feel like that Bray would have done the same thing, right? He would have had good feuds with people, and little by little, a new member of the White Six would be unveiled as like a run-in or an attack from under the ring or something that would just be like, another one's here. And then they could have character developed as they released each one little by little. Why Dexter Lumis is there? Why Nikki Cross is Abigail the Witch? Why Joe Gacy is Huskus the Pig? Why are these people representing each of these characters? We never got that. And I'm sure our resident heel commentator, Gil Heyman, who is slacking
he probably fell
today.
Asleep. He's probably asleep at his desk.
No, he was abducted by them.
Yeah.
They took him. They're tormenting him right now. But, he was right about that, though. Like when he said that they shouldn't have unmasked him, I have to take back my statement. Because I was like, it was cool to see them without the masks. I would think they would have looked ridiculous wrestling in the ring with masks on like that. But then I'm like, I really wouldn't want them to wrestle. They didn't have to have a match yet to make a presence. But giving us character development is very important. We need to know why. People love to do that. They need to know the whys. We didn't get that with the White Six. That's why the ball was fumbled so badly. And if Alexa Bliss is to resurrect this group, she needs to be the best mouthpiece ever and give us a reason why Dexter Lumis, is Mercy the Buzzard, why Joe Gacy is Huskus the Pig. And as a matter of fact, who the hell is Joe Gacy too? Like, I know he picked the last name that goes off from a person who unalived a lot of people, aka Pogo the Clown. But I mean, let's get reasons why. We know why Eric Rowan is there. He doesn't need character development. He carries the axe for the Bludgeon Brothers. Has the White Rabbit mask, and so we know who he is with the Wyatt family. But the other ones, we need to know why. So if they don't let him go, and if they do bring him out on SmackDown, maybe they can correct all the wrongs they've done by finally giving us reasons to why each is there. I think the fans would appreciate that.
Yeah, and hopefully we see that in time, right? Now that Alexa Bliss is back, I was really also kind of hoping that they would have kind of tied in Braun Strowman to some degree with that. Obviously now that's not going to happen because he got released, but, rather than bring in like that Joe Gacy guy or Dexter Lumis, right? They could have, did something with Braun Strowman, right? Where, I mean, imagine him and Eric Rowan as a tag team, man. Those guys would be freaking unstoppable. They would be like the new Brothers of Destruction, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they could have. I mean, honestly, get rid of Joe Gacy as Huskus the Pig and bestow that honor onto Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I mean, they could have made it simple, man. I mean, sometimes, like, I feel like they make it harder than what it should be when it comes to like the storylines and the angles. It's just like, hey, like make it make sense though, right? For the fans, right? Like, like if there's history with some characters like, Strowman, Alexa Bliss, Eric Rowan, right? Like let's tie it together, right? Let's, somehow, start off with Uncle Howdy and then, bring in Rowan, right? He's the first piece of the puzzle, and then Strowman, right, second piece of the puzzle, and then Alexa Bliss, the final piece, right? That would have been perfect for me, right? I would have not had a problem with that. And instead, but I get it though. Like they want to build new talent, right? But it's like you guys are like they're not talents that people really care to see. They're not developed. They're not developed characters that people care to see. Like nobody cared to see fucking Dexter Lumis in it at all. Like I didn't give a fuck. Like Nikki Cross, okay, I think her character kind of fit a little bit with it, right? Because, like, with her previous character with, Sanity or whatever you want to call it, she had a little bit of unhinged attitude when it came to her character. She was kind of already crazy, and then they made her when she was the women's champion, they made her the hero or whatever. I thought that was the dumbest shit that they could have done.
Yeah, that was dumb as hell. But it's a good way. It's a good way though to have her in the Wyatt Six, only because again, her and Alexa, they were a tag team. They were best friends. So this is a great way to kind of like bring it back together with those two. I would do this. Okay, bring back Braun Strowman. Sorry, people, put Joe Gacy out of his misery and take him out of the Wyatt Six. Give Braun Strowman, the role of Huskus the Pig, right? Obviously, he's Braun Strowman's a big guy. He'll fill that role nicely. Okay, you bring Alexa Bliss to kind of lead in, Uncle Howdy as the puppet master, but there's one thing that they must do. Stop using Code Orange's song Shattered. Go with Uncle Howdy's theme before Bray's passing. His theme was creepy and scary. Bray's was kind of too, but it resonated with Bray because we know what type of person Bray is. We know what he was going to do from this point, right? The Eater of Worlds to the Fiend, and then to this dual personality, right? That was kind of like hidden beneath the face. I mean, I love the idea that he did at Royal Rumble, where he had that glow, where if you had the black lights on, you would see the demon inside him. So it was in your face. He just didn't have to put a mask on to show you the evilness in him. But when he did that and he brought in, his brother played Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy came out to this creepy ass theme. They brought the Wyatt Six back and they honored Bray with using Shattered, but then they continued to use it. And I think that's also what was killing their momentum was you guys are the Wyatt Six. Build something unique off of it to honor Bray.
Give us something different,
Yeah, they could have done all that and still kept the creepy story, still kept the creepy characters. But, until they show me something new, I can't back the Wyatt Six going forward.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's the same for me. Let me take a picture of something real quick. Quick screenshot. but yeah, no, it's it's just, I mean, they haven't been on TV for a reason, right? So we'll see what happens. I don't know if and when they're going to come back anytime soon, but I don't know what the angle is with Alexa Bliss right now. She just came back. She was basically off since like prior to Mania. They gave her off since like Elimination Chamber. I don't know if she has something personal going on or whatever. She's back now. They're trying to stick her with Charlotte Flair. I don't know exactly what's going on there. She did qualify though for the Money in the Bank. So
I think what they're sticking her with Charlotte Flair because I think they're gonna revisit that old story. When Alexa was gonna challenge Flair for the title, the things that she told Flair, including making Flair's her own doll. They might revisit all that, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. We haven't talked tech at all whatsoever. I don't know if you still want to do that or not. I mean, I'm good to keep going live, but. I don't know if you want to.
We can dabble into it. We can dabble into it. It's up to you, man. For at least like another 15-20 minutes. It's already getting a little bit late on my end. That's why I think you're 2 hours behind me. So I need to shower.
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I need to shower and get in bed soon. Not too soon, but yeah, man. As far as that goes, what did you want to discuss as far as tech goes? Maybe some data networks or some new devices.
I don't know. What do you feel like? We can. So I'll let you pick. We can go in more just about YouTube content creating. If you want to talk more about that, we can go into AI. We can go into the phone you have, the new mobile. Was it N20?
Yeah. I think it's the N20. Yeah.
We can go whenever you want to go.
All right, so I guess we can talk about that a little bit, right? So New Mobile sent me a device. Sorry, I had to turn off the camera. I was like blowing my nose and stuff.
That's fine.
But yeah, so yeah, New Mobile N20, which is a budget phone. It's like literally like here it is right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
That looks a lot like the OnePlus Nord N30.
Right. So it's a decent phone. I think the price range is like $100 to $100 or $120. It's got 6 gigs of RAM. It's got decent specs. Like for what it is, like it's actually not that horrible of a phone as far as like its specs. Let me go and read it off to you guys. Android 14 out of the box, 720 display, obviously, CPU. I believe it's a MediaTek. It says ARM. I forget which one. I need to go to the website. But it's got like 6 gigs of RAM, so it feels like snappier than what it should be, I guess, for like a budget phone, right?
Yeah.
Because it does have that extra 2 gigs of RAM. So it's an LTE only device, or VO LTE. That's what it says on top, as far as mine goes. So
I wonder why.
Right? It's not a 5G phone, so it's a budget phone. So I've seen that with a few other devices, like my like this TCL phone that I bought also a while back, which I did an unboxing of. Hard to see, but it's the TCL 505. And I was like, oh, okay, like let me order. It's like $100 on Amazon. It's unlocked, so I can like try to test out other, new carriers on it, right?
Yeah.
Which I've only tested out Helium Mobile on it so far, so I might try to get like a Boost Mobile or a Metro SIM or something like that going. But anyways, that one again, $100 phone, 4 gigs of RAM, very sluggish. Definitely not like the other TCL phones that I've tested out. So the new mobile phone is actually, I'm a little impressed by it considering, but again, no 5G. It's just LTE, compatible. I'm gonna post up a video about it tomorrow, probably doing a speed test. So keep an eye out for that one, right?
Yeah.
To give you guys but I do have Helium Mobile running on it. I did swap the SIM into it, and I logged in, and it worked. So I was like, okay, at least I know Helium Mobile works on it now.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So,
yeah, I mean, oh man, trying to get a lot of things going, with now running 2 channels and everything like that. So I just uploaded a shorts earlier, just talking about the Pixel 7, which I'm kind of like going to be doing that. And that's what I was going to tell you was like, because like I deleted all my shorts on my main channel and I've opened up a second channel for shorts. What I'm going to do is, for people out there to kind of get a little clue, if you're wanting to know like what videos I'm coming out with, you definitely want to subscribe to my shorts channel and see what shorts I'm putting up, because whatever shorts I do, like I just dropped a video short on the shorts channel for the Pixel 7. which is the and what I was going to tell you was one of the things I'll do is on my shorts channel. I know I'm going to get different subscribers that are subscribing for short form content, but I'm going to start posting the link that's related to my shorts from my main channel for people that's like, if you want to see a long form overview of the Pixel 9a, then they'll see it in the comments because I'll pin it in the comments to the shorts, like click this link, watch the long form. And I think that's how I'm going to run both channels and have them tandem. I wanted to share that tip with you because I'm like, you could do that too, drop the shorts because shorts, I'm going to drop 3 a day. Main channel, I'm going to drop 1 video a day. So that's a lot of videos to pretty much edit.
Yeah, but hey, as long as you're dedicated, man. I mean,
little going back into life.
Yeah, man. I mean,
man, did I crash?
You're still here, but it's like very bad.
Oh,
I can hear you though. I can hear you.
I got the little orange thing that said "oops." So I'm gonna do this right now just to like keep it sane. But okay.
Yeah,
anyways,
no, if you want to turn off your camera, that's fine. Yeah, it will help out the bandwidth. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, like what I was saying is I don't have a lot of time left. You know what I mean? Like I'll announce this with you. You know what I mean? Because you and I we've been friends on YouTube for such a long time. Look, I have a lot of respect for you. I have a lot of respect for you. I have a lot of respect for CV Tech, wherever the hell he is.
Who knows? He's still out there though.
So lately, my wife is she's taking me, to get seen, get checked out, just because of my health and everything like that. There's a huge concern with the amount of white cell counts I have in my blood work. I've gone back and done multiple. So now that they have the numbers compared to 3 different times that I've gotten checked, now they want to look for if there is like growth in me, like cancer.
Yeah, like any type of tumor or something like that.
Yeah, they want to look into that now, and so, and I mean, I'm turning 43 this year. It's not that old, but I mean, I am getting into that point, right? That's why they call 40 over the hills, because you've already peaked. Now it's your slow decline until your eternal sleep, and so yeah, I'm worried about it, and so I know I can't do this forever, and so I do, and I haven't announced this on my channel yet, but I'm eventually going to say something once I know for sure what's going on. But I do have a goal that I want to reach, and before I say goodbye to YouTube, I only hope and dream I can hit just at least 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
just
same.
to leave it at that.
Yeah, same, man. Well, definitely pray for sending good vibes, man. Is all I'm gonna say, right? Hearing that, it's a little scary to hear, but hopefully, it's not to the point where, it's non-reversible or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always pray for the best.
Yeah, definitely just stay positive, keep a positive attitude. Do what you can as far as your lifestyle to stay healthy, right? You know what I mean? And just spend as much time with your family as you possibly can. That's all I'm gonna say, right? And of course, we're here for you. If you need anything, man. I mean, I'm away, and
I know the support is real. I know the support is good, and that's why, because when it's my time, when it's time for me to hang it up on YouTube, I'm actually not closing the channel, but my oldest daughter is gonna take over my channel.
Great, yeah.
She's turning 15
let's hope
this year.
Let's hope that's a very long time from now, man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she said she'll run it. She's all like, I don't know if I'm going to talk about tech. I'm like, well, just, if you buy a phone, just tell people what you think about it. I mean, that's really what people want. Like, they're not, people are not all hung up on the nitty gritty stuff. Some people just want to know, is it a good phone? And does it take good pictures? Does it record good video? Does it got a long battery life? And if you can answer those questions, you will have people listening to you. It's only the tech nerds that want to know all the deep specifications of everything. Yeah, so there's that. There's I don't know if you caught the video where I talked about because Gene always sends me things on X, and he sent me a video. Yeah, he sent. I don't know if he sent you the same video, the one where Jerry rigs everything, tore down the Pixel 9a. It's like, don't buy the Pixel 9a. And I'm like, like of course controversy sells, right? Like Eric Bischoff was correct about that. And so if you title your video "Don't buy the Pixel 9a," people are going to click on it because they want to know. And like the only thing that was said in that video was the way that the battery was placed in the Pixel 9a. They use a specific glue that other manufacturers used before that makes it hard to take it out. And it's like, that's not a reason not to buy the Pixel 9a, not in my opinion. And so I made a video talking about it, and like I want Gene to understand that just because they say don't buy the Pixel 9a doesn't mean that it's a failure.
Yeah.
Really, all that tells me when Jerry Riggs Everything did that video and he's like, oh, you're not going to take out the battery without destroying the phone. It means that a regular person at home should not open up their Pixel 9a and do a battery swap. Take it to, a certified repair shop for Google and get it done there because they know how to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but we're already on that dawn where things are changing. I mean, they're starting to come out with phones that have silicon carbon batteries rather than lithium ion, because you can have a silicon carbon battery be smaller but have a higher capacity. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 milliamp hour battery, right? That's kind of like goes hand in hand with why we have the Galaxy S25 Edge and the upcoming iPhone 17 Air. Very thin phones with higher battery capacities to be able to withstand.
Yeah,
that is the new goal. So we're phasing out lithium ion and we're pushing for silicon carbon batteries.
Oh yeah.
So the Pixel 9a, honestly, with the way that we upgrade phones, by the time that battery needs to be replaced, people are going to be well past it. They're going to be on to like the next 2-3 generations new. No one holds on to their phones that long these days. Hardly anybody.
Yeah, dude, now that you mentioned that, like, my longest phone that I've had so far, and this is like for a while, I still have my iPhone 13 Pro. That's my daily driver. So for you to mention that, like, man, dude, I'm sure I know my battery health is like in the 70s already, though. Like,
I mean, but you could do a battery swap at an Apple store for $50. I mean, I am looking to upgrade now from my iPhone 12, and it's like I'm hung up because I am considering the iPhone 16e. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of want, dual cameras with the iPhone 13. So I am really, it's like, I'm 80% sure I'm going to end up getting the iPhone 13 in August. About 20% chance I'll get the iPhone 16e, but I've been watching your video on the iPhone 13. I've been reading your posts about it. And so like, I'm sure the battery at 70%, if you did a battery swap, which I'm wondering if you're going to do that, because then I want to know how the phone would be with a fresh battery inside.
I mean, like, I could do that at a local place that probably does the battery swaps, but I don't know if I want to or not. Because I mean, like, I have so many phones, man. Like, and like, I'm sure like later on this year I could probably just like uptrade it for like, an iPhone 16 or even an iPhone 15, right? I don't really care to have the newest iPhone. But we'll see. Like, I had been in talks with Mill Hustles about it because he's always sending me like all these iPhone deals. Like right now, like right now from Boost Mobile, you can get the iPhone 16e with port in or port over, I guess, for like $100. You know what I mean? So I think I might eventually take advantage of a deal, or maybe with what do you call it? What's that? Total by Verizon, because I think the phone unlocks after 2 months anyway.
Yeah.
So does. Like, I could just go with them for a couple months and then, port it back to Visible. Because the only thing with me and Visible is, man, is like, I have, now with the new plans, I moved down to the $35 plan.
Oh,
so
okay.
I get the $20 monthly credit because of all of the referrals, right? So I'm only paying like $15 a month on my line. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it's like it's hard for me to kind of get away with that because I would rather be paying I'd rather just use my old phone or or get a new phone and just buy an unlocked iPhone new and just keep saving on the data rather than having to port over and just do all that. Like it's just, to me, it's like just a big process.
So like one thing that I have that I might be using if I decide to get like the iPhone 16e. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing called Zip, but
I've never heard of it.
Zip is almost like Affirm, except for some reason, because I don't have the best credit yet. They still approved me on a $600 limit.
Oh, okay.
And so like you say like you buy like a brand new iPhone 16e on Amazon, then you can use Zip to break that into monthly payments.
Got it.
And then once you accept the terms, then Zip goes in and pays the full price for the iPhone 16, so you get it shipped to you.
Yeah.
And then like I think it's like bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, you make like a $20 payment until it's paid off.
Okay, yeah, it sounds similar to Klarna, I guess, or basically
it's like
you're
Klarna.
just paying every 2 weeks until it's paid off.
Yeah, it's just like
basically,
Klarna.
or I mean, some of them will do paying for, right? Which Klarna is paying for, but now Klarna offers like extended, payment plans, right? Because I bought a pair of shoes recently, and I'm using Klarna, where I'm only paying like $10 a month until it's paid off, basically. So yeah, basically you can do that. You can also do that with PayPal. I know PayPal offers, pay now, pay later or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll set up a payment plan for you as well, which I might try to take advantage of. Later on, we'll see. But as far as like swapping over phones, like I mean, my phone still works great. You know what I mean? I honestly, this phone, like, because I got the iPhone, the regular iPhone 13 from Boost Mobile also, right?
Yeah.
Like there is a difference in usage, man. Like the iPhone 13, the regular iPhone 13, opposed to the Pro, stutters a lot as far as like the animations and transitions. I don't know what's going on with that exactly. But I'm like, I thought it had the same processing chip and this and that. You know what I mean? So I'm just why is this? And that's because it's a brand new iPhone 13. I just unboxed it like a little more than a month ago, and like it stutters more than my iPhone 13 Pro that I've had for like years already. So I'm just like, So I mean, you never know. You might see me do a video comparison down the line when it comes to
I would definitely want to see that. Are they on the same iOS version right now, or
they should be? Let me double check. But yeah, I know one of them, they're both on 18. So let's see. I might have to update.
The newest one is iOS 18.5.
Software update. Yeah, this is 18.5 already, and I'm pretty sure my regular iPhone is already on it also. Oh, you know what? My iPhone Pro is not on the newest version. Interesting. It's still on 18.4. That may explain some glitches on my gig work apps. So I'm gonna have to update them. A little bit. Let me check it really quick. Cause yep, there it is. There it goes. It says update right now. Okay, screw it. I might as well.
But it's the regular 13 that's glitching out a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say glitching, but like I feel like there's more stutters when it comes to it. So
yeah.
So, but again, maybe it could be my background because I think it has like one of those little backgrounds that moves a little bit. So
that could definitely cause it. When you have
to change that.
Yeah, if you have animations on your home screen wallpaper, even on Android, that will mess with the overall fluidity of the software because it doesn't have ProMotion, so we know it's only 60 hertz refresh, but it should still for the most part be smooth because I'm using the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I really like that phone. It doesn't have 5G. I don't give a shit, but it's got a terrific battery life. Above anything, and its cameras is solid as hell. I record some videos with it, and people don't complain. That's the other thing too. Because like I have my iPhone 12, I'm thinking about getting the iPhone 13, but I really, really like my iPhone 11 Pro Max. So if I wanted to get a new Pro Max model phone, it might be the 13 Pro.
For me, like I wanted to just I don't really care to have a Pro model phone anymore. I just wanted to get like a Plus model phone. That way I can have like the extra battery life since I'm always doing stuff. You know what I mean? And my phones, my regular devices, you tend to die pretty quickly. So if I do end up getting one, it'll be like a 15 plus or a 16 plus maybe.
Yeah, that's what I want with an iPhone is to have good battery. That's my only gripe with iPhones. Like I don't dislike iOS or anything like that. It's just like if like the 12, I like the iPhone 12. I like its size. I just wish that it had better battery. Like the battery improved with the recent iOS 18.5. So I'm getting a lot longer with battery on it, but it's not as long as I want. Like my Pixel 9a, I kid you not, by the time I'm done, ready to go to bed at the end of the day, I'm at 51%. And that's using it from when I take it off the charger at 6 a.m. I go to bed like 11 o'clock at night. So from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., that's more than 12 hours, and that's half the battery used. I could literally go another day before having to charge it.
Damn. Well, for me, like on my iPhone 13 Pro, and I typically when I'm working, I don't usually carry more than one phone around with me unless I'm off. So like with that, like I'm usually charging it at least twice a day. So like, you know, by time, like let's say I wake up at 8, let's say my day starts at 8 a.m. I'm already charging the device by like 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Depending if I'm doing gig work, right? And then like, you know, I'll take a break, I'll charge it in the afternoon, and then, you know, I'll let, you know, the rest of my evening will go until about like 8 or 9, and then the device will be like at already like 20% by the time like 8 or 9 o'clock comes around. So
yes, that's why I'm using the 11 Pro Max. That's the only one out of all the iPhones I have that has the best battery, and I can take it off the charger at 6 in the morning. I would have to throw it back on the charger at about, you know, 7 p.m. at night. It'll make it that long with how I use it. So
jelly, man, I'm jelly. Yeah.
A good device, but I don't know, man. Well, I guess we've been on for like an additional 20 minutes, man. If you want to kind of just wrap it up.
Yeah, no, man. Again, I appreciate you coming in tonight, man. I know it's still a little bit early for you on there. I don't know if you're going to go live on one of your channels, but if you do, I'll definitely check it out. So,
I'm going to go watch a movie.
We're going to go watch a movie. Okay, that sounds good. Family fun night over here, hopefully. So yeah, man, appreciate it, man. Hopefully we can get back on soon. You know, again, best wishes to you concerning your health, by the way. You know, keep me updated whenever you feel like you want to talk about that, of course, right? And let me know what's going on with that, man. I would really appreciate that. What else? I don't know, man. I guess, you know,
free tomorrow?
I work, but I'll be free again in the evening. So, you know, if you want to go live around the same time, we can do it also again tomorrow night. You know, I don't know if you want to just talk strictly tech again, or if you want to get
let's do it on your tech channel. We'll go more and we'll do the AI and all that other stuff.
That's gonna be you're gonna have to be the strong person on that one, man. But yeah, sounds good, man. No, all right, we'll set that up, man. I'll send you a DM on that tomorrow then.
Cool.
All right, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you all have a great Saturday evening. Y'all get some rest, and we'll see y'all tomorrow, okay?